Welcome to episode 3 of Face to Face Podcast. I'm joined with a very special guest this morning. I have Daniel Nzanga, aka Matondo, with us, and I'm so excited for our interview today.
Yes, sir, Ski.
This is your first facial ever.
Only by the best.
I'm honored to be the first. So tell me, you've had so many exciting things happening as of late. I feel like you're everywhere doing everything. What's been keeping you so busy these days?
A lot of events that I DJ around town, mixture with creating music, still finding time for that, and also designing.
How's that been going? Now that you've officially graduated, how's the design space looking these days?
A lot of freelance work, getting the opportunity to meet a lot of great brands and companies and seeing how they operate.
Do you feel like it's still within the music space, or you're working with all kinds of different?
I'd say all kinds of, mainly sports, which is also where a lot of my music space works with, like, at least DJing, sporting events, so it seems like it's all coexisting.
It's kind of a special thing. Not everybody gets to have their two in one.
Facts.
How did you get into the DJ space? I feel like I've heard little rumors here and there of how this started, but I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
Well, there was an event, and my homie, shout out to Wavehart, was DJing, and there was a couple technical difficulties, so I decided to chime in and help with a laptop. I was a YouTube DJ, got multiple tabs together, playing music, and from then I was like, this is kind of interesting. Then one of my best friends, Royce, taught me a couple things how to DJ, then and that just trial and tribulation.
I feel like you're definitely one of the best in the area as of right now, and you're traveling too, so I feel like we're lucky to have you in Seattle at the moment for as long as you're here, but
Facts.
I feel like you're definitely underrated at the moment.
So, slowly but surely, in quotations of Nathan Nzanga.
When are we getting a Mount Nzanga 2? I hear there's something in the works.
Yeah, it's building slowly but surely. Gotta get a couple songs back, create. Making a project with 2 people is just like longer, just because like it's like building 2 ideas and trying to make it like, how do we make it one idea, you know?
Do you feel like that gets complicated when you're working with family?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's different than a band where it's like, sure, we can have some space and crush it later or not, or we can just veto you from the band when it's family. How does that differ?
Oh, sometimes I hate my brother, and sometimes he's the greatest rapper in the world, so.
I feel like your family knows when to humble you too.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, especially growing up in this area, everyone is so tight-knit, especially in the music community, and I feel like the same kind of speaks for yourself. There's so many really neat collaborations, and everyone is kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. Do you feel like there's anyone you haven't collabed with that you'd like to, or anyone you're like, oh yeah, can't wait to do the next project?
Next project I'd say would always be my brother, just because like I feel like our styles of music complements each other so much that it's just always cool to see each other push each other.
Mm-hmm.
Then just like haven't worked with, I'd say like, I guess DJing wise, like I've been in a lot of just like rooms with DJs I really like, whether it's like DJ Super Sam or Nick Biba, and just like I'm excited to one day be on the same lineup with them for sure.
Hey, it's coming.
Yeah, and I guess there's a lot of like not even Seattle, like North Seattle high upper artists coming out of the woodwork. Them excited to see what they do and hopefully collab with.
Definitely. What about songwriting? I feel like you definitely have a pen on you.
Oh, yeah. I love songwriting and the pop aspect, pop R&B. I think that came from the fact with like I can hold a note, but like I'm not like Adele, of course. But like my god brother Chandler Williams is one of the greatest singers I ever known, and just like writing songs with him, just collabing stuff. I was just like, bro, like some of these songs like would sound so good if like a top-notch singer would be on it. So that's when I was just like started writing for that, and just that just came of like, oh, I'm able to write from different perspectives out of my life, because like of course like storytelling your life story is great, but sometimes it's cool to like be in a different character and just like see like, oh, if I was like this, how would I think of this situation, etc.
Do you feel like that's the same in a sense of when you're writing Mr. Blue? Is that spoken from personal experience, or you're kind of like jumping into pulling from other people?
I think with Mr. Blue, that's like a mixture of both.
Okay.
Like a lot of personal, but like a lot of just like, I feel like with storytelling, especially like music, like it's pulling even the tiniest emotion and just like over simplifying it, if that makes sense, and just like making it bigger than it like being more emotional in every emotion, because like all art is expressing emotion. So just like the tiniest thing is always just like, how can I make this moment like a big ordeal cinema type thing.
I feel like there has to be a really great story of writing Generation Gap.
Generation Gap, it was one of the ones where it's like, it was just at a time where like the first time I wrote it was like I made like the raw parts of the beat on my laptop, and it was like during a time where I lost a couple friends close to me. Just scoped out the whole song. Then like for me, like the best part of like collaboration is just like I have a lot of ideas in my mind, and I'm like, I know like if I had some of like the skill of like production or whatever, like I can bring these to life. So like when I'm able to collaborate with other people, I can see like them like see my ideas and interpret it themselves and try to bring it to light. So I sent the idea. First, I drove to West Seattle and like pitched the idea to Lily, and like the song was so rough because I didn't have any of the equipment or whatever. I was like, nah, just trust me. Once I send this to Chandler, like this is gonna sound fire. And like the difference between like the rough draft in my phone versus the final in Chandler's laptop is just like
night and day.
Crazy. Like he's a great songwriter, but he's low-key a great-ass engineer, mixer, producer.
Do you feel like you guys are going to work together more in the future?
Definitely. He's definitely in my top 5 greatest collaborations in my life, for sure.
So let's jump back to Design Space. How did you end up working with all of the sports? How did this all come to flow?
I guess one thing about like being a freelancer, the same thing with like DJing or music, you have to be like your very own advocate, and a lot of it was just like I knew how much networking mattered for like music or DJing. Like for me, it just like wasn't a question after like for graphic design. So I was like, I'm gonna just email a bunch of people and see where it gets me and show them my stuff. And just like from that led to another. I've been able to coexist spaces where it's like I would DJ a sporting event, and I'd be like, oh, I can also send you my portfolio for design. I do this. And with those, I've been able to get a lot of opportunities to show off my work.
I feel like in that sense, you can't ever take no for no. It's just not right now.
Exactly.
And I feel like I resonate a lot with that because I'm definitely one of like, well, I have an idea, I'm just gonna do it and we'll see where it goes, and there's a way to make it happen. It's just getting the right email sent out.
Exactly.
Do you feel like you have any tips for anybody who's also a young person coming up in the music space or the creative space in general of trying to make their mark and get their foot in the door?
I'd say show up to things that interest you, like especially like music you want to make and just like the events. Talk to those people, like, and especially like talk to listen, not listen to talk. And like some conversations you're not gonna get a job or a feature or whatever out of it, but just like the conversation's still necessary for you to like understand other people's roadmaps to success and how you want to emulate it, or like say I want to take it a different approach.
Is there someone that you've met along the way that you feel like was the catalyst of shifting into a different role? Like, okay, this one networking spot, like, okay, I went to this one place and I met this person, or an experience like that kind of jump-started?
In the design world, I'd say I'm a part of an organization called BSP, Black Sports Professionals, and through that they've helped me just like create my design identity and connect me with different people, be advocates for me. So for that, I would say them for sure.
How did you link up with them?
I just blitzed a couple LinkedIn emails.
As you should. Do you feel like you have a current project that you are most proud of that's currently out?
All of the above, music-wise, design-wise.
Because you've been putting stuff out, at least on Spotify, for a minute. You have a long list, like 2017 up. Because I was doing my research and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to take me more than a weekend to work through all of this.
I'd say my best cohesive project has to be the Purple Bracelet project, but it was also my senior year of high school, so I felt like it was a great wrap-up of that like story of my life, of where I was at. So I'd say that would be my favorite project out. Favorite song, I think Mr. Blue is like one that's like, I feel like it encapsulates my rhyming ability, but also just like my stage presence, how I like performing that song, and it's a good time. And yeah.
Would you say that's your favorite song to perform?
Definitely.
I feel like that's when everything really goes down.
Definitely.
You have really good stage presence and you really know how to get everybody moving. Do you feel like some of that's come from just your time DJing, where you're like, I really know how to capture people's attention, or I know what to play, what people are really gonna, I don't know, get them moving?
I'd say it'd be honestly the opposite way, where it's like, because I was doing stage presence first, it helped with my DJing. I think it all like leads back to like being in like choir when I was 4 years old with Nathan and Chandler in jail, and just like being in the church choir and having to perform like twice a month and having to be a part of a stage and being scared and getting those butterflies away at an early age.
I feel like nothing quite compares to church choir.
Yeah.
I was in church choir for a minute, and
Okay.
I don't even remember what it was called, but I remember our first performance, we had these hilarious t-shirts we had to wear. Like, we all had to wear these matching t-shirts, and I feel like they had an exclamation point on them, almost like the Incredibles-esque. And I thought, looking back on photos, we had to wear a uniform because of what I was wearing. No, I picked this outfit all on my own. It is a red plaid skirt with a matching beret.
Okay, fashionista.
And a sweater with little dogs on it with matching scarves. This was the era of, I think, 6 or 7-year-old Jessica, fashionista through and through. And I'm like, man, if I have to wear this exclamation point t-shirt, I am gonna make the most of it.
Inspired.
Oh my gosh. Who knows where those photos are? Somewhere hidden very well. Do you feel like growing up you always wanted to be in the music space, or you're like, okay, if I were not doing this, there was another plan in place, another dream per se?
Honestly, I always knew I wanted to do something creative.
Okay.
Like, I think even going to college for graphic design, like, I knew, like, the whole idea of just, like, visual and, like, presentation is, like, the same aspect. I feel like the only close thing I've ever felt to, like, switching is, like, I guess went to a basketball camp in 7th grade, but like after the second day, I was like, yeah,
This is not for me.
I'm not LeBron James. I'm not LeBron. Then, then I always had a curiosity with coding.
Okay.
I took some coding classes in college. Like, I think just like the whole idea of problem solving, because like in high school, people can fact check this. I was good at math in high school. I was a calc kid. But I like the whole problem solving aspect.
That makes one of us. There's one numbers person in the building, and it is not me.
Well, I hate science, so it balances out.
It does. So for a second, you were like, I'm going to the league. I am LeBron. For a split second.
It was a very split second.
What entailed at this basketball camp where you're like, yeah, this is not for me? Was it running? Was it what?
Yeah, running. They had these nasty tacos, bro.
They have you eating oatmeal?
Yeah, of course. And
Gonna make you really strong with all of this oatmeal and tacos.
another musician that you know, he will not be named for confidentiality, was crying in the corner eating this oatmeal. I was like, come on, man. He's like, bro, there's no flavor. I was like, I know, man.
We're gonna make it through.
It was like boot camp.
Did they have any toppings at least, or this is like plain oatmeal? There's no raisins, there's no nuts, like
No, you know,
banana, I don't know.
nah. It was like you might get like a blueberry once. If
If you're really lucky.
yeah, it was
Bottom of the pot, you get a blueberry.
it was jail.
How long was this camp for?
It was a whole summer, but I gave up after.
Somebody better come and get me.
I gave up after 2 days. So I was like, it's not for me.
Next on Netflix, there's a
Yeah.
docu-series about this basketball camp.
Yeah.
Where it went wrong. Hopefully not.
For sure, a lot of great basketball players came and went through that camp.
Really?
So, yeah.
This is like a legit camp.
It was legit, but I
Not
was
for
not
the-
legit.
Oh my gosh. You're like, yeah, no, we will be switching gears from here. I could do coding.
Exactly.
Coding in an air-conditioned room.
But the one thing about coding is just like, you gotta stay on your desk, and like, I'm a very talkative person, so like, going to like a UW like week coding class, I was like, yeah, I cannot do this, bro. I have a question.
Okay.
When you be doing these facials, do people be falling asleep?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
I got plenty of people who be snoring.
that's clowning.
Usually it's a compliment and I'm like, wow, they're so relaxed. This is such a wonderful experience.
Yeah, if this wasn't an interview, I'd be unked right now. Not holding you.
I feel like you're kind of entering a new adult era now that you've moved again and you're really in your own element with design and music. Do you feel like there was some sort of internal shift where you're like, okay, this is really a coming of age year or anything like that? That's
I'm currently in it.
yeah.
It sucks.
What's been the biggest growing pains?
Money
You are preaching to the choir.
sucks, man.
You do your taxes yet? I about cried.
Yeah.
I did cry, actually.
Doing taxes as a freelance designer and DJ just makes no sense, man.
No.
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta take receipts of everything.
I mean, we try.
Living in Ballard, the cost of living.
Atrocious.
Whoever's the mayor of Ballard.
We're gonna need to have a word.
Crazy. And they shut down the Target.
What?
Crazy.
Was this one that was on the list? They're like, okay, there's too much theft. We're shutting down all of these Targets. Was that one that was just on the list?
Yeah, man. I was like, ain't you like that in Ballard, man.
Did you see that thing about Walmart doing like you have to pay a minimum to use their self-checkout now?
What?
Yeah, you have to pay like, I think it's like a $90 subscription to Walmart to be able to use self-checkout because people were, I saw some people scanning limes and taking TVs. Like it was big theft.
That just seems smart.
No. Like, can you imagine? There's one gal, she even posted it online. She like scanned a tomato and she wrote tomato on a piece of paper or something and stuck it on the TV. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is just the sticker that was on here. And they're like, you need to come with us. She's like, I didn't even leave the store. This isn't really that serious. It's like, you were gonna leave the store.
I just
Come
feel
on.
like just don't be able to check out TVs.
I feel like Target does that though, where you have to scan the electronics in the back. Like if something's locked up, they're not gonna let you walk to the front with it. Walmart just needs to step up their game because who's really paying a subscription to use self-checkout? It's not me.
Oh my god, I got a complaint on subscriptions too.
Oh my gosh.
Shoot. Netflix.
Did you get booted off the account too?
Of course I did. Makes no sense.
I'm not gonna name names, but when I saw a certain somebody get added to the list and all of us were booted off, I was a little bit salty. Because there's an account for everything. Max, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon.
I have not paid for a subscription yet. I am Robin Hood for subscriptions. And Spotify don't pay.
So if your subscription suddenly has some extra account, we'll know who it is.
Yep.
Do you make yourself a bubble or do you just like pop in on the other person's?
Depends on the account.
Depends if they know you're in or not.
If I like, not if they know I'm in. Like I feel like if I know the person enough, I'm like, yeah, I'm making myself an account. I'm just like, this is a point where we got to go back to cable.
Cable's expensive too, though, and this is how the subscriptions get us. Is you can't watch any of the things you would regularly watch on cable anymore. It's all on the flippin' subscriptions. This could really be a long rant just about subscriptions. Yeah. Okay, did you watch the Nickelodeon doc? We officially watched it.
I did.
So much to say.
Oh my gosh.
So much to say.
Have you seen the videos afterwards?
I have.
Yeah, this is good, because I grew up on the Nigga Brothers band. That's the reason why I made music.
I grew up with them too.
Right. So the girl who played Rosalina, have you seen that video?
Mm-hmm.
Just sickening, bro. Nickelodeon gotta be canceled, bro. It's done for.
If we can cancel Kellogg's, we can cancel Nickelodeon.
That's just like, and the fact is, like, of course, like, even though nothing has been said on paper officially, like Dan Schneider's weird.
He's
like,
foul.
Like, I feel like giving too much grace, like, that's not just a Dan Schneider thing. Like,
no.
that is, all those things is just like, that's just like one big company.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
whoever
especially
owns Nick, like, everything, bro.
Yeah, their time is coming. Well, even Amanda Bynes, did you see her stuff that she's been posting or had posted?
I don't know how I feel about that though.
Really?
Cause like she's be posting her stuff, like she's into what, like makeup care and whatever, and everyone's like, you see now, like commenting on her post, like she's making herself look like. I'm like, whoa, what if she's like really just into that thing?
Oh
And then she just comments, and all the comments is like, yeah, look what you did, Dan. I'm like, that's kind of messed up. Like,
What I've been seeing that's a little foul is they're like, they timed it because she's no longer a credible source. Like, she's fallen off the wagon long enough ago that whatever she says, they're gonna be like, well, we can write that off to whatever.
damn.
Which sucks. I feel for her. Because her dad, I think, was, like, kind of sketchy, too. Because they were all in on it. Like, her dad and Dan Schneider and all of them.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Oh, allegedly, though, you know. We don't want to get sued.
We're not getting canceled over here.
We're not going to get sued or anything.
We don't have so many yet.
No defamation of character. All allegedly.
The creator. We will just bleep it and say the creator.
Oh, yeah.
We'll pull a Jeanette McCurdy and, you know.
Like, part of me is just like, is it just hut for, like, child actors in general? Should we just not have them? But, like, I also felt a way watching Euphoria, seeing these people play high schoolers.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what? Like.
Well, and that seems a little weird, too, because it's like, okay, you are technically playing a... Why are we watching high schoolers do this? This is a little...
I'm just like...
It's kind of yucky.
I kind of, like... Maybe we only do animated, like, kids shows, I guess.
We're sticking to cartoons.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, in a sense, shifting topics slightly, so not from, like, a predatory stance, but just how there's so much drama in that regard with child actors, do you feel like it's also a little suspicious for young people coming up in the music industry of substance abuse and, you know, needing people present for you because you're a young person performing, and it's like having somebody there on your behalf was very important at a lot of these shows. Do you feel like that's something to be
Oh yeah,
talked
like
about?
starting out, like there's like, cause my main guy, my manager, slash cousin, you know, Chris Mwanda, shout out. Like there'd be events where like he'd be like, "There's no way, like I'm leaving you like alone at these events. Like your dad would kill me. Like you shouldn't be at these events, etc." It needs to be like, but I feel like that's just more of like I'm lucky that like my cousin's looking out for me at that point. Like, there's a lot of instances where people don't have someone that's just, like, no matter what, has the person's, like, best point of interest, like, making sure they're good.
Do you feel like looking back, you can see it from a different perspective of, like, I'm really happy somebody was there in those moments?
Yeah.
I feel like having somebody advocate for you, whether you need it or not, just having another person there can be kind of make or break in some of those situations. I feel like, too, the older you get, you're going to see some younger people coming up, and it always makes me nervous. Like, okay, you're definitely underage, but I've seen some things, and I'm like, where are your parents? There has to be, not to be a mom in that regard or anything, but I don't know, I feel like some people don't have anyone looking out for them, and it makes me nervous about their longevity in the business.
It's just one of those things where it's like, it's so hard because like it starts out like literally just as like a passion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a lot of structure, like, and there's not resources given. Wish there was more, for sure.
Do you feel like, even if it doesn't exist yet, what do you think would be a helpful resource for people?
Therapy?
Come on. Have you done therapy?
Just these bars, man.
You feel like you have any ventures that you started quickly that you're like, we'll see how this turns out. I'm just going to go full force. I don't care what people are going to say, and we'll just see how it shakes out.
DJing.
Yeah? Did you get some mixed opinions when you were, I guess, in the beginning stages? Like, even from your family, like, did you bring it up at all and you were like, okay, this is going to be the next wave we're just gonna see what happens. Was there an opinion on that?
I mean, dealing with African parents, you always, but like, I feel like one of the things is just like, kind of just like showing like the determination, because like they could be scared of the idea, but like they can't deny the effort.
Right.
So I think once people saw like, oh, like put full throttle effort to the things I'm passionate about, they're like, okay, it's treating it right.
What do you feel like support looks like to you? Is it showing up to things? Is it streaming or sharing things? Is it just like, I don't know, what does that look like in your ideal situation?
I think it's just like knowing that like whether it's depends on the person, like whether it's like if it's someone I don't know, like yeah, showing up to things, hopefully, and stuff like that. But it's like close ones, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, you have to like show up to this event, but like just like the fact that like, oh yeah, I'm rooting for you, even if it's from afar or
Like the intention behind
yeah,
it more?
exactly, whatever support, like knowing that like I could call someone for help or support, for sure.
Do you feel like you have a top 3? Like, these are my people I would call if I needed... Who would you call if you needed encouragement?
Encouragement?
Yeah. Top of the list.
I'd say my best friend, well, halftime, my brother right there.
Mm-hmm. What's the best word of encouragement he's given you?
No matter what, no one's gonna understand. So why spend time like trying to make people understand, like for like music wise, not just like emotional wise. Like you could waste all your time trying to make people understand. You can use that same time moving forward and doing what you need to do, and soon eventually they're gonna understand.
That's good advice. Do you feel like there's someone else you would call for different advice if you're like, I just need somebody to not necessarily like talk you off a ledge, but like, okay, get it together, like...
My siblings, for sure.
Who keeps it the realest out of all of the siblings?
Probably. I feel like me and Junior are more of the like sharp shooters, you know, just like bang, 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 and like then my sister and my brother and Nathan are very like encouraging, supportive people. So it's like a mixture of both.
Did you know Junior tried to talk me out of going to beauty school? This was a conversation him and I had. I think I was 16 or 17, and he said, Jessica, you're going to ruin your life. You need to go to a 4-year university. Set yourself up. And I was like, but hear me out. I can do this program in less than a year and start making money right away. It's like, I don't know about that. I still think you shouldn't do it, and here we are.
Did he say he was wrong?
I don't think he has admitted he was wrong. I think it comes with, well, you know, that was my perspective, and I still stand by education, and I think I get more that response.
Well, he told me the other day, he was just like, man, I wish I would have just gotten the money used for college and just like, if I would have gotten like a good, just like, head start, I feel like I didn't need to go to college. So.
That's ironic. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to hear those words,
Yeah.
Those exact words. They're not going to come my way. I feel like you don't know what you don't know, though, especially when you're in that age, because he's probably like maybe year 1 in DC at that point. So, Until you make it through the other side, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like, it's like because I feel like I'm like at two sides of the coin with it, being someone going through. I went through college, but also like working in endeavors outside of it. I'm like, I see like a need for both type thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
if you were to go back to school for anything additional.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think you would? And do you think it would be something different? If you're like, okay, maybe I want to go back for this specific thing. Does that ever cross your mind?
If I went back, I'd feel like it'd be adding on to my degree because I really like it. But like, I also like feel like I want to take marketing classes because I feel like the whole like, cause like I love like social media graphic design. Just like I feel like learning the other side of just like that would be fun. Take a couple of classes,
There's so many niched markets even within that that I feel like everybody wants someone with that expertise. Especially with everything changing so frequently, I feel like the algorithm is different. Every single post, it's looking for something different.
Yeah.
How's everything feeling?
Good.
Your skin is glowing.
Yes, sir.
I feel like you need to do something to celebrate with your brand new skin.
Thanks.
Well, is there anything on the horizon we need to be keeping our eye out for?
I'm outside all summer. Outside. I don't even know what inside is.
We're paying these Ballard bills this summer.
Facts. I'm out of Ballard this summer. I'm moving back to the CD.
Okay.
I'm gonna be by Capitol, so I'm really outside.
That's exciting.
I'm more outside than a mailbox.
What are you most excited for that's upcoming?
The crossover got to be back. I'm excited to DJ those games. Excited to finish the project so I can film some videos for it. Do some rollouts. Yeah.
This is going to be an active summer for you.
Facts.
One thing I do appreciate is you stay pretty consistent on social media. Like, if you have something going on, it is known. Which is not all of our strong suits, so.
Yeah. I try. To me, like, that's kind of like, I'm not going to say my favorite part of it. I'm just like, because, like, I like designing. I like all that. It's like a fun way to just document and, like, and unless Instagram just, like, deletes the whole app, like, that'd be sad. But it's just, like, it's a good, like, archive, Even
Definitely.
to look at.
Do you feel like you go through different eras of Daniel? Like, there's been a progression of like, oh, that was a different era. I'm switching the vibe up.
Definitely. I think like used to be like very like all black everything, like Yeezy season 2 type vibe, but like now I'm very like, and I went through a safety vest phase. I haven't worn a safety vest in a minute.
Really?
I need to bring it out though. I'm trying to find like the next thing.
I feel like the safety vest was an era for sure.
Like I think, like at first I'm like I'm the only dude rocking a safety vest. Then a lot of people bit my swag.
Do you feel like you're gonna turn into a puffer guy? You're gonna have all the different puffers or vests or something else?
Ever since I've been to London, I wanted a North Face puffer, but like try to put out my Christmas list, but my siblings and parents weren't going for it. They're like, I'm not rationalizing getting you a $300 puffer. So like it's just one of those things where it's like once I make it, I won't tell anyone, but like you'll know.
The puffers will be in sight.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like you were really wanting one of those Nike Tech fleeces for a minute.
Facts.
Did that ever come to fruition for you?
That's what I walked in with.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been staring at your face for the last hour.
Teched out. I had to make sure I got the tech for London.
Well, you'll see the whole fit in part 2 when we are on the chairs, because it was a fit for sure. I like those sneakers too. Those are nice.
Thank you. 50th hip hop anniversary at Air Forces.
Ooh. All right, we are almost done with your facial. I'm gonna put a little bit of lip balm on you. And then I will have you take a peek and you can see how things are looking. How's it feel?
Weird, but good.
You're very hydrated.
Yup. I look like a seal.
fresh out the water.
Yup.
So everything's gonna keep absorbing over the next hour or so. So it's gonna continue to sink in. And then all the products you have on are gonna continue to work over the next week. So you're gonna keep seeing benefit even after you leave, which is always great. But we're gonna resume our chat over on the chairs.
Big bad.
I am dying to know one specific thing. How do you feel about everybody's stage names that they're coming up with? Especially when you're introduced to somebody, you've grown up with them, you know them by a specific thing, and it's that shift, whether you like the name or not. But how do you feel about that?
I usually introduce people by their just normal name, no matter what. Like, I'll be like, like, if they like, nah, call me this, like, I'll be like, I guess, but like, like, my homie Burke, if you're watching this, he goes by Ivory. Like, I'm like, I've known you since I was like 10. I'm calling you Burke. But, like,
I think that's a prime example.
like people correct me, like, Ivory, like, oh yeah, him. Like, but like, I don't think he calls me Matondo though, so it's like.
So it's kind of that trade-off.
Yeah.
So I feel like.
But if he calls me Tondo on the spot, I'll be like Ivory.
Got it. Okay. So I feel like I don't go way back with him. So he introduced himself as Ivory, and Nathan went, "Your name is Burke. Your name is Christian Burke. Get over yourself." And so in conversation, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, Ivory or Oblay or whatever," because that's how they introduce themselves. So I don't have that initial like, "Oh, that's the wrong name."
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it depends on the thing. Like, if you're going to, like, especially, like, if you met at, like, networking, it makes more sense to be like, I'm Ivory, because, you know, it's like.
You're in your persona.
We have, like, it's like having a network relationship with someone, you know?
Right. Do you feel like in those situations you introduce yourself as Daniel, or no?
I go Matondo in those situations.
Do you feel like that's hard to do the switch up time to time, or not so much?
Not so much, just because it's my middle name.
Yeah. I feel like same for Oblay, hits his middle name too, like just a quick Uno reverse. Yeah.
I did not know that.
It wasn't made up.
It's crazy.
Okay, how do you feel about, remember the discussion where it was like Nathan wanted to just go by Nzanga for a minute? How do you feel about that?
Oh, heck no, because literally, like...
You're stealing everybody's name.
No, the sole reason why I could not, my name's Matondo, is he did not allow me to be Nzanga.
So you wanted to do it first?
Yeah. So no.
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, the sole reason why my name's Matondo, because I just called myself Nzanga. And he bit my swag.
Now if you stepped out in a red jumpsuit,
yeah,
we'd know.
Exactly.
Times are changing.
Exactly.
Do you have any shows coming up in April-ish? Because this will air probably mid-April. April, May. Anything we want to plug?
April 20th, I am the ambassador of an event called The Sonics Was Taken. It's an art gallery promoting just like the history of Sonics basketball, NBA basketball in the city. I was still relevant just because like as times are brewing, like it's that team will be here soon. Like as time is ticking, it's the only time will tell. Then May season, like got a couple shows to TBD. Then all gearing up for crossover summer.
That's exciting. Where do we go to get more info, get tickets, go for any of this?
At Young Matondo. That's YOUNG MATONDO.
Perfect. Well, we will see you on the flip. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yes, sir, Ski.
And we will see you next week for another exciting guest and a new episode.
Big bet.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.